Thank you, sir. Kalispera. So from my side, in less than 5 minutes, just an overview about what shipping is doing in terms of decarbonization and sustainability. We had an initial strategy 5 years ago. This has been revised in terms of reduction of CO2 emissions, greenhouse gases from international shipping. And as you can see, we aim to reach to net zero by 2050. We have also a target in 2030 to reduce our intensity, carbon intensity, always compared to the year 2008 by 40%. So carbon intensity is the CO2 emissions from international shipping divided by the transport work. Transport work means, the distance the ships are traveling and the deadweight, the carrying capacity. And it seems that we are doing very well in terms of this target because based on the last IMO GHG study, we have seen we are quite there. Because back 10 years ago, back in 2013, international shipping has adopted the Energy Efficiency Design Index. So we implemented design requirements, new ships with contract after 1st January 2013. We need to meet some design requirements. And these requirements got stricter in 2015 and 2020. Now we are in phase 2. We have also additional requirements for dropping low carbon fuels, as you can see there, 5% and striving for 10%, because although we have more efficient ships, we have more business and the emissions are still increasing. That's why we need to do introduction of low carbon fuels. And we have also a very challenging target, about 20% reduction on the absolute emissions. And in the year 2040, 70% reduction in the absolute emissions. And this is the most challenging target for international shipping. We used to calculate our emissions in terms of tank to wake, so what we burn, we count the emissions. Typically, when we burn 1 ton of compliant, typical conventional fuel, we emit 3 tons of CO2. So 1 ton of fuel we burn, we emit 3 tons. But now we are going to look also the life cycle of the fuels. We are going to consider the emissions during the production, processing, and transportation until the fuels has reached our bunker tanks. So this is a big change for our industry. And apart this, so there is already mentioned about the Fit for 55. So there are also regional measures that we need to comply with. We have the ETS, the EU ETS, the emission trading scheme, which will be implementing to shipping 1st January 2024, and operators will need to buy the CO2 allowances. Currently, 1 ton of CO2 is around 85 euros. But there is also another measure coming from Europe, which is the FuelEU Maritime Regulation. It will start 1 year later. And based on this new regulation, we will need to meet some specific requirements, some limits in terms of the GHG intensity of the fuels we use. So actually, we will need to use again some drop-in fuels, low carbon fuels, maybe biofuels initially. LNG also has some positive effects. Later on, we are looking for methanol, green methanol, or green ammonia in order to reduce our intensity of the fuels we are using. And just a few slides about the cost. As you can see here, depending on the different daily consumption, for example, a ship that has 30 tons daily consumption, the cost for the ETS will be around 4,500 euros, the daily additional cost on a ship. And similar with the FuelEU, as the limits go down, you can see that a ship that will continue to operate in a conventional fuel like a low sulfur fuel oil will need to pay a significant penalty to EU to remain in compliance. And this concludes my presentation. Thank you.